Welcome, ladies and gents. We've had the final sprint race of the season, the Qatar Grand Prix. We got a bit of a twist at the end, didn't we? Let's just jump straight out to it. It was all action at the start, though. Some movers and shakers. Well, Lewis Hamilton moved up 2 places, right into P5. Nico Hülkenberg, great start, up in 2 places up into P7. Oscar Piastri made the big move, though, didn't he? George Russell up into P2, and it was a great battle throughout from them. Kevin Magnussen back 4 places, he made up into P11, and Zhou Guanyu on the soft tyres, the only guy to go softs. It was crucial he made up places at the start, made up 2 up into P16. He struggled from there on, though. The bad starters, Max Verstappen, we never see him really do bad starts, do we? Down to P3 at the end of lap 1. I mean, not all them positions lost at the start, just 1 to Lewis Hamilton. And then, well, car just wasn't there, was it, for the Red Bull? Liam Lawson, a massively poor start. He was down 7 places, down to P17 after the start, after getting himself on that car in a decent P10 position, especially when, you know, the title rivals in the constructors, Haas and Alpine, were just there around him. And Yuki Tsunoda topped off a bad start and a bad sprint race for the Racing Bulls, down 2 places into P18. Well, let's jump straight to where the action started, and it was George Russell against Oscar Piastri, and it was great teamwork in the end, but Lando Norris was just skipping away and left Oscar Piastri vulnerable to the fast Mercedes, weren't they? That was actually quite crucial. I thought once the 2 McLarens got away, I thought they'd both run away with it, but Mercedes and Russell, more importantly, was right on it. Nearly got the passing, didn't he? Down that DRS straight. There's only 1 real overtaking position here, down into turn 1. Russell side by side just didn't quite get it down on lap 4, and then by lap 7 it was a big DRS train, wasn't it? The team play came into it. Norris working and giving the DRS to Oscar Piastri to see off the Mercedes of Russell, because as soon as anyone sort of lost that, you were vulnerable down the end into braking into turn 1. There was the potential of a pass. Lap 8, we've seen Max Verstappen do that on Pierre Gasly, didn't we? A nice move from Max after a poor start, but the Alpine wasn't too good in looking after its tyres. And then we've seen Lewis Hamilton again drop away out of the DRS from Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc with a great move, probably the move of the race, wasn't it, in lap 13, with a nice move, them two side by side, clean, solid racing, and a real nice move for Charles Leclerc. But by that stage, Leclerc had lost 3 seconds and probably too much to do to kind of catch up and pass Carlos Sainz. Lap 14 was again close, where sort of Norris just let a bit fast, wasn't he, and dropped Piastri out the DRS. George Russell close up again, a late move into braking for Oscar Piastri, but I think it was 1 clean move into the inside and then back to sort of take the corner. I know Russell was sort of kicking and screaming down the radio, but I think it was a real fair move on that one. And then we got the big surprise, didn't we? On the last corner, I just had it down on my paper that Lando Norris for P1, and well, look up and Oscar Piastri's taken the win. He moved over right at the end, returning the favour from earlier on in the season, and giving Oscar Piastri his second race or sprint race win in Qatar. He did have to say that, you know, he's after race win, so giving him this is just a small token of that gesture that Oscar did for Norris. It was a nice touch. It was a real great team working performance by the McLarens, a fantastic 1-2 for them, and well, crucial for not big points here today, but every little point will help with their battle with Ferrari and the constructors, who themselves didn't get what they wanted, did they? They wanted to basically, if it damage limitation, finish exactly behind the 2 McLarens. The positive for them, though, is it's a long race tomorrow, and I don't think the McLarens can play this DRS game for much of the first stint or the second stint like they have done today. There's more tactics that will come into it, and then there's potential for, you know, Ferrari because they did look quick. Charles Leclerc setting the fastest lap at one point in the race, and they were held on with their tyres. The disappointing was that Carlos Sainz just couldn't get past George Russell. But it was, you know, a decent. It was all so close. There was nothing really to pick between them. So it looks like it'll be in for bearing what happens in qualifying. They both sort of, they can sort out the qualifying, both start well. If one of the Ferraris can just sort of pull off a lap and split them, two McLarens, it looks like we'll be set for a fantastic race. Onto the 3 good and the 3 bad quickly. Well, the star of the session really was Nico Hülkenberg with a fantastic P7, comfortably held off Max Verstappen, and it's strange saying that Haas was quick. His teammate also is one of the 3 good. He made up 5 places up into P10. Disappointing, he just couldn't get into the points, but shows how quick that Haas was. He was right up behind Pierre Gasly as well, was Kevin Magnussen. So yeah, a really good job, solid 2 points, crucial points for the Haas team from Nico Hülkenberg, and they'll be really hoping they can hold on to that well-deserved P6 is where they currently stand. And obviously the McLarens with that 1-2, the other 3 good. The 3 bad was, well, shockingly, Sergio Perez. How low can he go? I mean, it was such a poor race from him all round. I mean, he got passed on pit exit by Franco Colapinto. He was asleep. The light went green and he still waited. Franco got the move on him and then just comfortably stayed ahead of him. Perez was so poor, they pitted on lap 15 to just put on a front wing to, you know, made it a test session. I mean, Red Bull coming to a race and turning into a test session is really, really poor. Shows how low Sergio Perez has dropped. I mean, he's not doing himself any favour to sort of retain and hold something here, has he? But yeah, another poor race, a poor showing from Sergio Perez when he's got little chances now to prove he's got any chance of or deserving of retaining this seat. He's not done anything since having that contract renewal in Miami, which even more reason to explain why they gave him that at that time. There was actually no reason for it. The second of the 3 bad, Liam Lawson, P16 from P10, a really disappointing race from him. You thought potentially the nick could point, stay in the fight with Alpine and Haas, and that poor start really dropped him back. Wasn't quick from there on either, was he? Didn't make any positions from there. A horrible race from him. And the third of the 3 bad is surprisingly Max Verstappen. We don't often say that, do we? He was slow off the start, lost a place to Lewis Hamilton, and then just couldn't get his tyres up to grips, did he? Then lost a place, oversteered, went wide, and Nico Hülkenberg stepped in the place, and then a couple of lap corners later, and Pierre Gasly did the same thing to him. So not often we see such a scruffy poor lap from Max Verstappen, and from there on you did think he'd comfortably pass both of them cars again. He got past Pierre Gasly, but then after that you thought, oh, it'd be good to see him closing on the Haas. Had he got into the Haas, he would DRS zone. I mean, Hülkenberg didn't have anyone within his DRS to try and hold Verstappen back, so I thought it would be, you know, a comfortable move up for Max Verstappen, but he just wasn't there, was he, at all? Red Bull wasn't quick. They've got a lot of work to do now before the qualifying session to try and get that car back in the zone for them, and it's a big session coming up next, crucial for the Constructors' Championship. It looks fantastically close, doesn't it? It's anyone's to pick for between McLaren and Ferrari. The big points still yet to play for, and I wouldn't bet against the McLaren 1-2, but honestly, the favours, you know, despite what they've pulled off today, it doesn't look like that promising, does it? I think the Ferraris are really right in the hunt for this one, but let's see how they get on. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. See you next time.